My name is Adriel Rivera, and I make music in my shed. With me today is somebody else who also makes music in my shed. Tegan James Washington, aka Prez, a longtime friend, family member. He's not actually part of my family, but it feels like it.
Bro, the whole government name's crazy, but I mean, go crazy, I guess.
Today we are bringing you my podcast, the first episode of my podcast, I Make Music in My Shed, with my co-host, Tegan James Prez Washington. And this is basically going to be breaking down all of the songs that I've released every month, as you guys know, or should know. At this point, it's been 3 years. I release a song every month on the 25th. Been doing that for 3 years. And so with every song I release, I'm going to be breaking down the production of it in one episode. And then in the next episode following, the lyrics and cover art of it. So, or visualizers, whatever fits in the episode. So today, we're going to be covering my most recent song for the month of January 2024. This song is called One Like You, parentheses, I Say Ooh. What do you think of this song? Do you like it?
I mean, yeah. I love it because like the ooh is just, it's great. The ooh is great.
Now, for context, if you guys haven't heard this song before, there's oohs.
There's so many oohs. Like, he says ooh.
I do say ooh, which is why in parentheses it says I say ooh. Actually, the reason why it's in parentheses is because, I mean, I don't know if like people, like we know this because we're musicians, but a lot of times like people, like if a song is very catchy and the catchy part does not make sense as a title, they'll like put it in parentheses so people know that's the song, but then they'll put the real title at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so like I Say Ooh is a goofy goofy title.
Whoa, look at this guy.
I saw my fault. But yeah, I Say Ooh is a goofy title, right? So One Like You makes so much more sense as a title, but I put I Say Ooh as in parentheses because that's like the most catchy part of the song.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, like when if you hear this on like somebody's story and you hear that like I say ooh part, you know, and you go look up I Say Ooh, like now it's gonna show up.
Exactly, right. That's the marketing.
Big brain.
So we're gonna break down the production. That's what this episode is all about. Production of I Say Ooh. I mean, One Like You, bruh. Production of One Like You, and then also we're gonna be going through some cool little other things about the song regarding the production. But to start off, we're going to go into the project file here in FL Studio, as you can see. This actually I made on my desktop. I have on my laptop. I have to transfer all the files. And so because of that, I had to consolidate some plugins because there's some plugins I don't have on my laptop, but I have on my desktop. And so if you're wondering, this is the project file, but there's some little bit of tweaks. But this is basically like what it was, what it is, and how I made it. So starting off, we're going to start off with the most simple part, quote unquote simple part, the base of everything, the drums, right? Play these drums for you right here. I'm actually turn up the volume on this. What do you think of those drums? Oh, you hear that?
Whoa, what's that?
What's going on? There's a switch up, and then what happens? What's going on? And then goes back. Okay, so with these drums, what I really wanted to do, I mean, I really like the pattern of that. I don't know, something about that is very like, there's a movement to that.
Yeah.
It's like marchy. And one thing I will mention is we recorded this episode once and then the files got corrupted. So we had to re-record this. So something we mentioned last time is that the drums are very like, it's like, it feels almost like a march in like a marching band.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very upbeat. And I don't know many times that I've done like this kind of drum pattern. I do a lot of the same drum pattern in a lot of songs where it's just like a kick drum on every beat and like a snare on like every 2 beats. So when it comes to like differentiating the patterns, that's something I'm trying to do a little bit more with my stuff so it doesn't sound the same throughout the entire board.
Yeah.
But this is like a kind of feeling that I don't usually get in a lot of my songs, I feel like, when it comes to the drums. And then you heard later on in the drum pattern, it gets to like this, like kind of like offbeat snare pattern. This is in the second half of the first verse. and the second verse, if that makes sense. So basically, like, this is the build up to the chorus, right?
Yeah.
And so we're switching up the drum pattern so that it sounds a little bit it's like there's an indication that something's gonna change.
Yeah.
So a little tip for you producers out there that are also trying to find ways to better your production. If you want to show people that there's going to be something new coming up, switching up the drum patterns is a good way to indicate that there's like a transition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I did with these drums. From there, because that's basically the drums throughout the entire verse,
Right.
or not verse, the entire song.
Right.
From there, let's move on to the bass. And so the bass line in the verse and the chorus are different. We have, I think this is the bass line. Or no, this is the bass line. So this is the bass line for the verse. You hear that? So cool.
It is so cool.
Thank you. I made this in Serum. If you guys know what Serum is, it's a synthesizer plugin, right? Let me pull that up really quick. So I made the meat of the bass. I made the main bass like in Serum. So you have like this, you know, actually my fault. I forget. There's two different basses. This bass is all just made in Serum, right? Let me backtrack. There's two different basses in the song. There's a bass for the verses, a bass for the chorus.
Yeah.
And I made those two different basses different, right? Differently.
Yeah.
I made the different basses differently because I wanted to have different feelings between each parts of the song.
Right.
So like we have very consistent motion with this bass in the first verse. I made in Serum. It's like a very plucky don't. There's a toy that me and my older brother used to have when we were little that is like it's like a pinball kind of machine, but it would have like a trampoline at the bottom. It was like a small thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Was it like you threw the thing at the little trampoline?
Yeah.
And was it like a basketball thing, or am I making that up?
No. It wasn't basketball. I'm sure they had other versions, but it was like a pinball one that I had.
So like you throw it at the trampoline.
Yeah.
And then what?
And then it would bounce into the pinball. Like it would bounce off the trampoline into the pinball, and you would try to score like the bullseye every time.
Oh wait. I don't know, but I know the trampoline part. Like
Yeah.
I've definitely had some sort of toy like that for sure.
I forget. I forget what it's called. Should we try to
That's crazy.
look it up?
I mean, we can, right?
Trampoline ball game. Pinball game. I should do pinball game. Trampoline pinball game. What is it called? Toy. This is from years ago. I don't know if we're gonna be able to find what I'm trying to look for. And it's like I forget the name. It was like it had to be like super something ball.
Huh.
I think it was Hasbro that made this. Let's say Hasbro.
Hasbro makes all of them, bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. No, this is it.
This is
Okay,
the one.
yes.
This is exactly
I was
the one.
tweaking basketball. No, that's it.
Tiger Games Bullseye. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Oh my God.
reason why I bring this up is because like what would this had like a song that would play in the background that had like a bass line that would do the same boom boom boom
Yeah.
boom boom, and that's what that's what it reminds me of. And so I guess like I mean I've heard this kind of sound in a lot of different songs before, but that is like my earliest recollection of that sound. Wow. So if you want to say I got inspiration from a pinball game, go ahead. Like that's like this is like the vibe that it had. That I remember it still.
That's crazy.
But yeah. So
That's crazy.
So that's the first verse right there. Let's go on to the and okay. So first verse, I said it's the first verse, but it's both verses. Both verses have that bass line.
Okay.
Move on to the chorus. We have 808s, right? And the reason why I went with a more 808 sound, I did use a main synthesizer here with Serum. I built this out. Is this the one? Yes, it is the one. Right? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so I made this one so that I could get like the main idea down, like the main meat the main structure of this 808. But the thing is, like, when I put it with the rest of the song, it didn't hit as hard as I wanted to. So I just layered it with more 808s, right? That I just had in my sample packs.
Yeah.
And another tip for you producers, if you don't feel like there's enough sound, add more sound. That I don't know if that makes that that was the best way to explain it.
Dude, just crack the code on production.
for real. But like, what I'm trying to say is that like you can layer multiple samples together to create different and fuller sounds.
Yeah.
You know, and before I used to not like doing that because I felt like it would, because there comes a problem where if you put too much sound, it obviously clips, right?
Right.
But if you balance everything out, you can create some really good sounding sounds. And this is how I've created a lot of instrumentals for the project I'm working on, my future project that I'm doing with my brother. And so we layered. I like layer a lot of the samples that I created to get like fuller drum sounds and basically create new samples out of the samples I have.
Yeah.
And you can do that too. It helps a lot with creating fuller sounds. And so I did that for this 808 right here. And this is for the chorus. And like, listen to that. That thing's booming.
That thing is booming.
It's booming. Excuse me.
That's booming.
I had to burp. And so the reason why I went with like 2 different bass lines, right, instead of keeping the same consistent bass from the verse to the chorus, is because with the rest of the song, like you can hear that, like how I said, there's that buildup going up. And the chorus itself sounds very like ethereal, especially with like the vocals that I'm like the melody that I'm singing. So it's an elongated like ooh throughout the entire vocal. Well, not the entire vocal, but for like the main part of the chorus where we play right here. And so like you can hear it's like very like how do you not pronounce it? How do you say like explain that feeling? Ethereal.
I think no, I think that does it.
So like I wanted to capture that entire feeling, and having this elongated really like boom 808 I think just really just like built on top of that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That sounded crazy.
Diggy with just the 808.
Yeah.
And so like with the 808s and the drums and the vocals, obviously there's no other instrumental or like main melodic pieces yet. Adding them in is gonna fill it out so much more, give it more context. But for right now, this is what we got. Let's move on to the main quote unquote synth, which actually isn't a synth. I think people, or if you have a production ear, you could probably tell what it is. The main like melodic instrument that I use the entire time is a piano with a sidechain effect to it, right? Those of you that don't know, what is sidechain? Do you know what sidechain is?
Yes. Please don't ask me to explain it on this podcast right now. You do your thing, dog. You do your thing, dog.
So sidechaining is basically like when you have one sound, linking that sound to another sound so that something happens to that sound. So for example, if you sidechain a compressor to like if you sidechain a kick to a bass with a compressor, what that will do is that every time the kick comes in, the compressor will tell the bass to duck down a certain amount of volume only when the kick comes in to make room for that kick, right? And so that's what sidechaining is. And a lot of times in like house music or something, you'll hear sidechaining effects happen on kicks and bass lines, like I said, and it'll be on like a quarter note pattern, like do 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 do. And so that's the effect I have going on here. Obviously, I don't have quarter note kicks going on because, like I showed you in the drums, it's a different drum pattern than I usually do. But I still wanted to have that sidechain sound going through. So I put something called Gross Beat on there, which comes with FL Studio. And so I could probably pull it up here. Hold on, let me see. So this is what it sounds like. As you can see, Gross Beat is here with like this gate going on so that every time a quarter note happens, it goes down in volume. And so that goes out throughout the entire verse. Entire verse and chorus are the exact same chords, but the difference that I make is that within the verse, it's like this octave, and then to the chorus, it goes up an octave. If you hear right here. And then there's that pause in between too, right? It's not a consistent like pause. Like I love that. It just like opens up like for like more room, and it's just a quote that I heard. I don't know who said this, but I heard it somewhere. Is that like music is more like people think of music as as sound, but a lot of times music is like much more the space in between sounds. You know,
it's facts.
Which I thought was an interesting thing to think about, because like having that space in between, like, you know, those chords, it just like it breathes, and like I don't know how to explain that. It's just like it makes it more interesting than just a consistent sound.
Yeah, no, it does. Can I actually hear that with the vocal, like just those two things?
Yeah, we'll put those two together.
I'm curious, like just to see where that space lines up with the vocal.
In the chorus or the?
In the chorus.
Okay, all right, let's go. All right.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you. You know, I love the song. It's like, it feels so good.
It does.
It really does.
It really does.
And so on top of this, these chords that I got going on, I have another melody that I made with this synth. I love this synth. I saw it on TikTok and I was like, I need to download this. Meow synth.
The meow synth.
For the people that are just listening, it's a synthesizer that has a cat on it, because it kind of sounds like a cat meowing, and every time it meows, check this out. The cat meows.
Wow.
So originally, like this synth has like no reverb or anything like that. This is how it sounds like just with the synth itself, which it's good. You know, it's a good sound. This is exactly what I wanted. But again, we're trying to go with like an ethereal sound. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make this feel like it's heavenly, because the context of the song is that like you find somebody that makes you feel a certain way. You know, like different than anybody else, right? And so it's like a euphoric feeling. I think that's like the word I was looking for. It's a very euphoric feeling, and the more reverb room that I can add to the instruments, I feel like the better it gets that message across. So nothing, all the effects, like it sounds so much better, so much better.
Yeah.
You know, you put that on top of like the main melodic instrument, the piano. Like, ooh, it's so good. And then right here, this last part. Woo! And another tip for you producers out there is that if you're making melodies, you can hear in that melody that I used, it's a lot of the same consistent notes. I feel like repetition is very catchy. Ryan Higa, you remember that guy? Niga Higa? No? What? You never watched him growing up on YouTube? He's a YouTuber. He's like one of the OG YouTubers. That's crazy. Anyway, that guy, he made a parody of "I Will Never Say Never" by Justin Bieber like years ago, and in one of the lyrics that he did in the parody was like, "I will sometimes say never, I will sometimes say never," and at the end he's like, "Repetition is catchy."
It's facts.
But it's facts, like, and that's something that I always think about. Like, repetition is catchy, and so I like to use a lot of the same melodies a lot, but repetition could be too repetitive, obviously, and we like change. We don't, I mean, like, as people, well, behaviorally that's different, but like in listening wise, we like to hear different stuff. We like things mixed up a little bit more, so at least in my opinion. So in the end of like this, you can hear that there's a different melody going on. And for you producers out there, quick tip: if you find like a catchy melody, use it as much as possible, but make sure that there is at least some variation. So from the verse to the chorus, since since we stuck with like this repetitive pattern the whole entire time for the verse.
Yeah.
For the chorus, what ends up happening is that end part that I switched up the melody with becomes the new melody, right? You know, and it goes. I love how that sounds. It sounds so good. Like,
That's clean.
thank you. Like, yeah. And so that just goes on the entire time. In like, oh man, it just again adds to the euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how else to describe it, but just like euphoric, right? And then if you want to hear that with the vocals, because I know last time you said you wanted to hear it like the piano with the vocals,
Yeah.
put those together. Like, bro, like I'm so happy with how this song came together.
I am too.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you for this song because this is great.
Does this make
great.
Does it make you say ooh?
It does.
You say ooh?
I say ooh every time I listen to this song.
I'm glad.
Multiple times, actually.
I'm glad. So next, what we got going on in the chorus too, though, is a like Rhodes piano, right? And these are just elongated chords that play in the second half of the chorus to add to. I don't want to say energy because it doesn't make it sound faster or like more energetic, but it makes it sound. It gives it more of the energy that I'm trying to go for, which is the euphoric energy that that I want to feel when I listen. So if you listen to this, it's like just these really long, chords. It's the same exact chords too, like as everything else. And so when you put that on top of like all the other melodic stuff going on, you have all this going on right here, but then these chords come in. Listen to this. It's like, I feel like it's just like, it's so beautiful, bro. So beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And so when we bring that all together with like the bass and the drums, excluding the vocals for right now, and you just want to hear the instrumental, this is what it sounds like. I love it. It's so smooth.
Ooh.
It's so smooth. It makes you say ooh, right?
Ooh.
And so that is basically the entire instrumental from verses to choruses, right? Verses, we got everything else going on. The chorus, that's what's going on. But some little things I wanted to like point out, which is just really only one. At the beginning of the second verse, right? Not even the second verse, but like the post-chorus, I guess you could say, going into the second verse, I have this little like sound effect going on, right? That little choo-choo, right? When I was like working on this like second verse and had that post-chorus, like every time, excuse me, I'm a little burpy today. I just had my protein. Where is it? It's over there. I just drank it all, so maybe that's why. But anyway, that when I was like listening to the post chorus, there would always be like this like sound that like would pop up in my brain when I would hear it, and I'm like, then it would always be at the end going into like the second verse so that it could be like a transition sound.
Yeah.
And then I realized like, what does that sound like? That sound that I was thinking of sound exactly like the JBL speaker sound, right?
Yes.
If you ever owned a JBL speaker, I don't forget what it's called, like the type of line of that speaker.
I think I have a Charge 4 and it has that sound.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I have the Flip.
Oh.
But I guess JBL just uses it across the board, maybe. I don't know. But there's like a choo every time you turn it off. And I would hear that sound at the end of this chorus, or not chorus, at the end of the post-chorus going into the second verse. And I tried so many different ways to make it. And then at the end, I was just like, what if we just sample it?
Use it, yeah. Why not?
And so I sampled it, But I added like effects to it so that it's not just that sound, right? I'm sorry, that was the bass turned on after that. But let me see, where do I have that? So right here, if we turn off all the effects, that's it.
There it is.
That's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's
That's
the
the thing. But I didn't want it to be so obvious that it was that sound, right?
Right.
So I put in, some EQ, cut off the low end because I didn't want it to affect like the bass frequencies of the main. On top of that, I put on this distortion, and then after that we got this EQ to give some more to the high end, and then one more EQ to make a little cut on that high end, so that it's like less crisp and sharp. Boom, and then that's what we did, and that's the sound effect that we got going on here. So. Boom.
Crazy. JBL speaker for the win.
And of course, to end it all off, we got the producer tag at the very end.
Classic.
Thank you. Classic producer tag. Love
Classic.
my little brother. My little brother is my producer tag for those that don't know. So we'll run through the entire song at the and show you some cool other little stuff about the song at the end. So here, let's have a full entire listen all the way through.
I've been the one to chase love that falls through hyper, broke some too. All in all, it seems I always lose, and now I never know if what I feel is true. It's such an obstacle that I'm still working through, but you just got this glow that I cannot refuse. So what you say is soon that I say. I've tried to give myself to someone every time I find that I won't trust the way I feel inside, and I get so damn tired of running these circles with no finish line. And though I tend to hold to fears I can't deduce, I wanna let them go. Maybe you'll cut them loose, cause you just got this glow. My God, it's so profuse. So what you say is soon that I say.
And that is the entirety of One Like You, parentheses, I say ooh. So, every song starts somewhere. This song was one that I started a while back, right? This released January 25th, 2024. But the thing is, I've been working on the song since, I think, August, working on it, quote unquote. That's when I started this song, was like around August, I'm pretty sure. And when I started the song, I had like the instrumental concept down. I really love the instrumental, and I tried writing lyrics over it. Excuse me. I tried writing instrumental or lyrics over the instrumental, but the thing is, like, I didn't get something that I wanted. The chorus is pretty much the same when I started, so like I knew there was potential. I really liked the chorus, but everything else, even including the lyrics that I had wrote, didn't really like. The lyrics were kind of the same idea, where it was like about finding like how things can just change by one person, you know,
Yeah.
like finding somebody that you feel that you could just be open with. But the thing is, like, I feel like it was really cheesy, really crappy lyrics. There were some that I felt like were good, but now I look back and like, nah, even those are mid, bro.
It'd be like that sometimes, man.
But anytime I work on songs, I try to like make as much, or like I like to listen to the song on my phone while I'm like doing stuff, or like if I'm like on my commute and I just like I've been working on a song.
Yeah.
You know, I like to listen to it in the car or things like that, just so I could like, well, because one, I just like listening to myself.
Yeah.
But two, like it helps get ideas flowing. There's been multiple times where like in the car listening to these ideas, and then I had to pull up my voice memo because I got an idea
Right.
from like listening to the demo. And so I'll export these demos, and I have the demo for the song, which it's not entirely mixed, obviously, because it's a demo. So you'll hear that, like, if you really listen, you can hear there's differences in the way that I mixed the certain instruments. All the instruments are basically the same, but the mixing is a little different.
Yeah.
But the melody is completely different too, except for the chorus, and then the lyrics are different as well. So I have it right here. Not right here.
That's not it.
That's not it. Let me figure this out. I have it right here. Boom. So I want to show you guys what the demo sounds like.
It just takes a hello, and the walls that you built start to let go. It just takes a hello. Now you want it more than you
Yeah,
have said so. It just
very-
takes a hello.
Very mid, in my opinion.
Got you wired harder than a rebel. It just takes a hello. All it takes is hello. And I'll say, haven't felt quite this way in a while. Yeah, I'll say, tell me, darling, won't you stick around? Then I'll say, haven't felt quite this way in a while. Yeah, I'll say,
And so like basically that's it. Like I didn't have a second verse. I just like copied and pasted the first verse and the second verse. So we'll talk about the verses and like the lyrics and stuff like that in a bit. But I want to ask you a question. Do you hear any differences between like listening to this between the original and this, like in terms of the instrumental? Or
The instrumental?
Yeah. Do you hear any like instrumental differences, like the mixing or anything like that? I just want to know. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
I do because like obviously like I listened to the song multiple times because I made it. But like, can you notice anything?
It felt different. Like, I mean, I couldn't give you the technical things. I wasn't like really paying that much attention to it.
Yeah.
But like if I listened to it, I could probably say a couple things. But it definitely sounded different.
I could definitely point out, like listening back to this, like some of those differences, especially in the chorus. Like one of the biggest things is like that instrumental, in this instrumental, the bass doesn't hit as hard because it was not this really elongated 808. It was more of like a boom, and then like it didn't really fill the entire chorus, right? So like we're gonna go back to here, listen to this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's more of like a hit
Right.
rather than
Then
like a note, a full note.
yeah, exactly, right. On top of that too, like listening to that melody, the synthesizer melody in the background,
it just takes a hello.
it's like more dry
And the
rather
walls
than
Yeah.
that you built start to
and that didn't hit as hard as it does like now. I feel like
That was mainly what I felt. Was it felt like it felt less spacey. There was
Yeah.
less reverb, like just overall and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt that.
the vocals, I feel like the vocals might have more reverb, but the vocals I feel like sound drowned out with it a little bit rather than, you know, a good balance.
I feel you.
But yeah, so talking about the lyrics though, you can see it's like same kind of concept. It just takes a hello. Like the
Yeah.
idea that I had was that like when you meet somebody new, all it takes is a hello, and then you have no idea like how much they'll affect your life from then on forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just takes a hello, and then your life is flipped. That was the concept. That was the idea. And I like the idea. Maybe I'll do something like that along the lines of the future, but it wasn't for this song.
Yeah.
The lyrics like could have been, well, they are way better now. You know?
Yeah.
When I wrote that lyric, like, got you wired harder than a Red Bull. Those lyrics, when I wrote them, I was like, ooh, it's kind of cool, because like I was struggling to find things to rhyme with hello.
Yeah.
You know, and so Red Bull, I was like, ooh, I did that. That was a good one. But
Bro,
listening back to it, I'm like, it is kind of goofy. It's kind of goofy.
Yeah, like sometimes, you know, like, I mean, even like in rap music, like you really have to, there's a line. There's like, sometimes it's good, but if you push that line into cringe, it's like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it good? Is it not?
Right. And one
Yeah.
thing too is that like, I don't even drink Red Bull, you know. It's like if I drank Red Bull, I think like cool, it would be cool. Like sure, you know, because like I drink Red Bull,
Yeah.
but like I don't even like. I think I've only ever had like 1 or 2 Red Bulls.
Did you like it?
The first time, no. The second time, it was better. I had a Red Bull this summer when I went to Taste of Chicago. They gave me one
For free?
Yeah. Who did that? Who gave me a free Red Bull?
Maybe Red Bull?
Maybe it could have been Red Bull. Red Bull might have been there, honestly.
Like sponsoring the event or something?
Yeah. So
I think that stuff is terrible.
I
think
think
it tastes like
mean,
medicine. I don't like it.
I used to think when I was little that it tasted like metallic. When I had it last time, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't remember how it tastes like now, but like it was good. Like I was able to drink it. You know, I liked it. But I don't drink it often. I don't drink it. Period. You know, it's like so.
Yeah.
So yeah, like using it in a lyric, off-brand. It's so off-brand.
Off-brand.
You know. So yeah, I mean, not feeling those lyrics.
Yeah.
But overall, this is the production of the song. This is where it came from. This is how it became.
Yeah.
To end off this episode, we're gonna go into a little segment that I want to do for every episode. We're going to quote of the week.
Quote of the week time.
What is your quote for the week?
Oh, dang. Because, like, I have multiple in my notes, but, like, I didn't think about which one I was going to choose specifically right now. How about you go?
I go?
How about you go?
Okay, I did order mine. Let's see. So the first quote that I have for this week, well, not first quote, the quote of this week, is one from this guy named Alex Hormozy. I've been listening to his podcast a lot recently, The Game, but also I learned about him because of my older brother. He has a book called $100 Million Offers.
Offers, yep.
Great book. I actually really liked it, and he has $100 Million Leads, which I'm listening to right now, the audiobook version of it. And so he also has a podcast where he put these audiobooks for free. So I've been listening to it, and I listened to some of the other episodes that he has on there, and something that he said on one of his podcasts is, we're not as smart as we think we are. And like, yeah, that one hit, because like, I think for me specifically, like I know, like I can acknowledge that I have an ego, right? I don't think I have the biggest ego, but I do have an ego. You know, I think I'm pretty cool. Maybe I have a bigger ego than I think I do. But I
mean, probably. We probably all have a bigger ego than we think we have.
Probably, yeah. Know? But yeah, like I think I'm pretty cool. But like, I think because of that, I think I know more than I think I do. You know, so especially like it's come to the realization like now too. It's like there's so much things that like I've told myself like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. Like I've learned about it. Like sales, for example, like all the things that I talk about with you, which I don't really talk about with like my public audience, because all this stuff is like behind the scenes business stuff that
right.
like I think is so cool, but I don't really just say. So maybe I'll talk about it more on this podcast. But since we're having the conversation, I'll mention it, like sales and stuff like that. I'm really into like learning about sales, and I've been learning so much about sales through like podcasts and stuff. Like Creative Juice is one of them that talks about like sales and monetizing for your audience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I've been learning more and more on how to be a salesman, and like just like create products that people want, because when it comes to the music industry, being a musician, people think a lot of the revenue comes from streaming. Yeah. And a lot of times musicians also think that that's where all the early, like, I feel like it's more so common in our generation of musicians where we think a lot of the money comes from streaming. And even though you can make a really profitable, I guess, business off of streaming, right, it takes a lot of streams to get a good income. And so there's so many better ways to generate revenue for how many fans that you have, because 1,000 fans can give you like 2,000 streams, but 1,000 fans can give you like $1. If 1,000 fans can give you $1, you get $1,000. If 1,000 fans give you 2,000 streams, you get like a few cents, right? It's like, it's a huge difference, you know? So it's like, I've been learning a lot about that. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've learned about this stuff for, I think, like 2 years at this point. Like I've gotten so much content. My voice cracked right there. If you didn't catch it.
Oh, we heard it. We heard it. We heard it, brother.
I've been consuming so much knowledge and content about sales that I'm like, oh yeah, like I know what I'm doing, but I haven't put any of it into action, like as much as I want to.
Yeah.
And once I finally do, or now that I finally have, like there is a lot that I don't know, and it's funny because it's like, I say that I know a lot, but I haven't done enough to show that I know a lot. In terms of like in some of these aspects, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I think that quote, "We're not as smart as we think we are," is like just like a good reality check for like me myself. Because it's like, I think it's you can get too caught up in what you know, but like not what you do.
Yeah. No, I mean I feel that. I also really like that quote. And I'm also not as smart as I think I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got a big ego too. See, you said I don't have the biggest ego. I would say I have I would say I have a huge ego. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm working on it, but I'm trying to work with it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I also
use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Because I also, I mean, like, it helps, especially because I make rap music. So, like, in rap music, that's a huge part of rap is ego.
Yeah.
So I can't get rid of it.
Right.
Nobody would want to listen to my music anymore if I said, guys, I'm a trash rapper and I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, like you have to have confidence.
Right.
To be, I feel like, to be a public figure. Confidence is a big thing. With public figures. But yeah, definitely like within like the rap community, how you're saying, I can see that being like playing a big part of like having like a bigger ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on to your quote.
My quote. Let's see. I'm gonna give you some heat right here. You ready?
All right. I'm ready.
This is from the man himself, Drizzy, Drake, Aubrey Graham. The guy.
Anita Maxwell.
Yeah. I don't know if that's who wrote this one. I'm not sure. But he said, having trouble figuring out if you're a devil missing a horn or a unicorn. And so I think that's one of those lines that is on the line where it's like, okay, I see what you're doing here. A little cringy. That's from his poetry book.
Yeah,
that is from his poetry book. He has a poetry book.
I didn't know he had a poetry book.
Released, I don't know, a couple months back, and I was like, oh, like, I'm interested in this. I'll buy it. Spent the $30 or whatever. It is a book of about 100 pages or something, and on each page is one quote. It's just one sentence on each page. I paid $30 for it, and it's filled with shit like that.
So it's 30 sentences. You paid, how much did you pay for it?
Like $30.
$30. So $1 cents.
I mean, it was
crazy. That's crazy. I mean, but
It was
like,
unbelievable.
was it worth it? Did you get value from it?
No, not at all. It was not worth it. I do not recommend. Do not recommend. But no, it was funny though, and there were some good ones. But then there were some ones that made me laugh like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wanted to share that because I also think that applies to the song a little bit. Because you start talking to somebody and you don't know if they're gonna be your next unicorn or your next devil. You know what
Missing
I'm
a
saying?
horn.
So
What does the
yeah.
missing a horn part mean?
If you're a devil,
No, I know, but like, is that?
if you're missing a horn,
Yeah, it's one horn.
if you're just a devil with one horn, or if you're a unicorn, because unicorns have one horn.
I mean, I knew that part, but like, what is he trying to say overall with a quote? Like, what do you think, or how do you interpret it?
I can't tell if you're the devil or a unicorn.
But does he say I can't tell if you, or like I can't tell if I? I thought you said I can't tell if I.
Having trouble figuring out if you're a devil missing a horn or a unicorn.
Oh, okay, you're a devil. Okay, all right. I thought that was to the speaker rather than, or not to the reader rather than like to the person they're talking to.
Oh, that'd be crazy, Drake. I'm a unicorn, dog. that was something.
I was thinking it's supposed to be an introspective thing, but
Oh, no.
that makes sense.
You know,
If
he's
you're
talking about like a woman.
Yeah, talking about like somebody else. Yeah. Right. Okay, I see.
Yeah, good old Aubrey.
Good old Aubrey.
I dislike that I use this as my first quote for this podcast. But I feel it made sense to me at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I vibe with it.
yeah,
It's a good one.
good vibes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we'll be back with the lyric breakdown as well as the cover art breakdown for the song. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode and want to see future episodes, feel free to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much for watching. I make music in my shed.